is a fabulous day to join us in Hyphens Haven, the space for multi-hyphenate artists who work on stage and off, in front of the camera and behind the scenes. We share our paths to becoming who we are. This episode is centered on an Atlanta-based hairstylist who has worked on a number of TV and film productions, including Entertainment Tonight, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Shazam 2, How to Get Away with Murder, and more. He has styled numerous celebrities such as Robin Givens, T-Pain, Niecy Nash, Yolanda Adams, Porsha Williams, Kandi Burruss, and the list goes on. He is the personal hairstylist for Brandy Norwood, Tisha Campbell, Angela Simmons, and his work was recently featured on the 95th Academy Awards as his client, Ruth Carter, accepted her historic second Academy Award. And he's from a STEM background. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you the multi-hyphenate artist, Nikk Nelson. Hi, Nikk. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? Hey.
All is well over here. Thank you for joining us and sharing your story. So as we want the audience to understand the journey you're on, we always start at the genesis, your foundation. Okay. So tell us about your parents or those who lovingly raised you. What were their names and professions and where you're from?
Well, my parents, oh my God, let's take it on back to 1976. I was born in Dawson, Georgia, and my mom is Helen Nelson and my dad is Billy Nelson, and they have been amazing parents for me from birth until now. They're like my biggest cheerleaders, and they are just amazing, and I love them so much. And I am a product of them, and I have 3 siblings. My mom had triplets in 1981. So yeah, they were, I think, the only triplets ever born in Terrell County at that time. So yeah, I have 2 sisters and a brother, and we all live right here in Atlanta, in the southeast part of Atlanta. So yeah.
Wow, triplets! That's amazing.
Yeah, it was all in the papers, on the news, everything. I remember because I was 5, so it was yeah, it was a big deal in Dawson. So,
do you recall a happy childhood memory with your family?
Oh man, I think you know what? I really did have a great upbringing, and I think I attribute my success and my life and my journey to growing up in a small town. My parents were always there for us. Even though they had 4 kids, they were hardworking. My mom was a medical assistant, and my dad worked at Procter and Gamble, and they were just always there for us and provided a great life for us. So everything was just a good upbringing. I had I had my grandparents that were like around the corner from us, and we were always there or always at home. So we just had a great upbringing. There was nothing that I can recall that was just like traumatic or anything like that, besides the whoopings, But that happens in every family, but with 4 kids. But it was just a great upbringing, and I have no problems with anything that I encountered during my time in Dawson. It was a great time.
Okay, well, let's go back to your early learning days. What elementary school did you attend, and was there a particular teacher that loved on you in a way?
I went to Lily Cooper Primary School. Well, I'll take it back before that, because I went to this little pre-K program, and my grandma actually worked there, and it was just I remember vividly, just meeting my friends, and these are the friends that I grew up with and the friends that I still have to this day, most of them, which is crazy because people be like, well, you still have your high school friends? I'm like, no, I still have friends from preschool, So yeah, but I went there, and then I went to Lily Cooper, and one of my favorite teachers at Lily Cooper was Miss Pittman, and she's actually related to us. But at the time I didn't know that. I just thought she was just my teacher, but she was my math teacher. And Miss Pittman was one of the nicest teachers. She was a small lady in stature, but just one of the nicest teachers. And I'll never forget, just her taking her time with us, and, just being a great person to look up to at that time,
Was there a particular accomplishment that you made in elementary school that you still remember? Like, wow, I still carry this great feat to this day.
I won't say elementary school, but I'll take it back to preschool. I was the king of our parade of homecoming. When homecoming comes, and me and my friend Katrisa, she was the queen, princess or whatever, and I was the prince. And I remember wearing those cowboy boots, and we had cowboy hats, and we were decked out in our little vest, and she had her big hair, and she still got big hair to this day. And we text like and talk like every day. But yeah, that was like one of the things that I vividly remember about being like 4 years old, 4 and 5 years old. And it was like during those times, homecoming was just a big, big deal, especially for a small town, because everybody came home and, people just rejoiced and enjoyed each other. And, we actually still kind of sort of do it now. I do love going home and enjoying homecomings and, seeing all the people that I grew up with and just enjoying the moments.
And the homecoming that he's speaking of is Albany State homecoming.
No, it's Terrell County homecoming.
Oh, Terrell County homecoming.
I didn't go to Albany State.
Okay, and we're going to get into that. So, disclaimer, folks, I am from Albany, Georgia, which is about 30 minutes from Dawson, but my parents are from Dawson, both of them. So this is a awesome conversation to have with someone who I feel connected in spirit. But Terrell County homecoming is an event. Like it is as big, especially in the 80s, it was as big or even bigger than Albany State in the 80s. My dad played in the band at Terri High School. So
wow, my dad did too.
Okay, so I know our folks definitely have to know each other, and I can't wait to get out. Yes,
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's amazing, and Dawson is that place. My grandmother is still there herself. But as you were transitioning into middle school, did you attend Terrell as well? And was there a teacher there?
We left primary school, and of course went to like the middle school. Well, it wasn't middle school. It was Carver High School. Well, Carver. They just called it Carver. But yeah, that's where I went to 4th, 5th, and 6th at. And a teacher over there that was amazing was Miss Cody. And Miss Cody was just a no-nonsense type of teacher. And you were not going to disrupt her class. And I vividly remember incidents with Miss Cody with some of those female students. And Miss Cody didn't play no games. And you respected Miss Cody. And you learned from Miss Cody. And she did not play any games. And the funny thing is, I remember Miss Cody being pregnant when I was in school, and years later, and one of my friends that I went to college with, her niece started dating this guy, and come to find out, it was Miss Cody's son that she was pregnant with when I was in the 6th grade. I mean, it blew my mind. I was like, call her Miss Cody is not your mom. I remember when she was pregnant with you. but she and my friend's niece is kind of sort of like my niece, so I call her my play niece. So it was just like a moment that was just amazing. Like this is like you my nephew, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I remember all that. I remember all of that.
Wow. So let's go into your high school years. Was there a teacher there that started to see a particular talent in you and helped you grow that talent? And where did you go to high school?
I went to Terrell High School. It was Terrell Middle High School at the time because they changed the name of the high school so many times. But it was Terrell Middle High School when I got there in 1990. And when I got there, I knew that I wanted to go into the science field. I wanted to be an orthodontist. I was in this class with this teacher. His name was Mr. Edmondson. And Mr. Edmondson was one of the funniest teachers that I had ever met. And he did not mind giving you a 0. And he was our science teacher. And I ended up joining the science club. And I did the science club for like 4 years with Mr. Edmondson. And he would take us on these trips to like UGA. We would compete in all the science fairs and all this kind of stuff. And you would stay after class and work on your projects. And Mr. Edmondson was always there and always willing to lend a hand to us. And fun fact, Mr. Edmondson wasn't Omega, but at the time we didn't know that because teachers just didn't wear letters like that to school back in the day, So I didn't know that he was an Omega until later on. And I was like, well, Mr. Edmondson, had I known you was an Omega, I probably wouldn't have been in your class. But I'm an Alpha, so. But yeah, he was definitely one of my favorite teachers, definitely.
And as you were in science club and having him as a mentor, Was it him that helped you transition into your major into college?
Yeah, yeah. I went into college. I was a biology major in college, and I did graduate with a degree in science.
Okay, where did you
So
attend
yeah,
college?
I went to the Valdosta State University.
The Valdosta State University.
Yes, 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 yes.
And was there a particular teacher at Valdosta that helped you as you were transitioning through life and big
You
things
know,
are starting to occur?
I think she was the teacher for everybody, pretty much every Black student at that school, Dr. Harding. And she went to Albany State actually, and she was a Delta. And she was just one of them. We took African American studies from her, and she just opened our eyes to life. And I think during those college years, you just learn how to become an adult because you're not an adult when you're there. You grow up in college, and she really helped a lot of us because it was a predominantly white school. She just helped us grow up, and learn to open our eyes to the world. And you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into a certain thing or this or that. You can be everything. You can be everything you want to be. You don't have to just be that. You can be all of it. And I think honestly, she's still that way to this day. And that was 25 years ago, almost 30, 20, at
Wow.
least 20, almost 25 years ago. But
Wow.
she was a staple in our community at that white school.
And mentioning her and being a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and I think you quickly mentioned that you are a member of the MPHC as well. Can you share with us your experience and maybe even how being in your fraternity has helped propel you into your position?
Absolutely. Even of course, I did pledge at Valdosta State, 1997, and it's funny. She was one of our professors during the time that we were becoming alphas, and we went to her. It was me and two of my line brothers, and we was just like, Dr. Harding, we don't know if we're ready for this test. We just crossed our fraternity, and we just not ready. She's like, well, oh, what fraternity did you join? And of course, back then you wasn't supposed to say until you came out on the yard. It was like, well, we might get in trouble if we tell you. But she's like, well, just tell me anyway. I was like, well, we crossed alpha, and she's like, oh my God, and that's how she talked. You know what? If I went to Albany State and I were a man, I would have became an alpha too. And it just warmed our hearts. She's like, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys an extension on your on your final and this, that, and the thing. And it was just, it was just great. And going through all those things in college, and it really built me up, and it really gave me a lot more confidence in who I wanted to be. Learning things from older people, older guys in that chapter. It really prepared me for life a little bit, and just to get out and see the world. When I did graduate and moved to Atlanta, and I became a member of the grad chapters here, it was like they welcome you with open arms, and they want you to succeed, and they help you. And if you're doing this, and now at that time I was in the science field, so it was brothers who were reaching out to me, hey, we have a position over here if you want to, come and take a look at it, or and back then we didn't have the internet like this, so it was pretty much word of mouth or somebody helping you. Hey, Pfizer is doing come and try to be a rep, and I did all those things, but it has definitely helped not just my fraternity, but I think just being in the D9 period, because the thing that we do as members of these organizations is we do help each other out across the board, no matter what organization it is. Some of my biggest and best clients over the years have been members of Delta Sigma Theta and Alpha Kappa Alpha, Zeta Phi Beta, and Sigma Gamma Rho. So they have always supported me, and that to me, what being a part of the D9 is about, not just our community service, but what can we do to help our fellow man? Even if you're not in the D9, what can we do to help you propel your life? So it has definitely helped.
That's amazing. So as you are working in the science field and you're able to have that easy transition from Valdosta to Atlanta, and you're getting connected with more opportunities, how long were you in that field before something happened?
Well, I worked in that field for about 5 years. I worked my first job out of college was at this. I was in a science lab, but it was a food lab, and I thought everything was going great. I'm working and I got my first job out of college and I was good. I was making money and had my own, get my little apartment, got my car. I was thinking I'm doing good until they fired me. And it was out of nowhere. And, if, I don't like to say, but this is the South, and it's the good old boy system sometimes. And, hey, you come over here, you ain't doing what we tell you to do, or whatever. And, me, I've always been a strong willed person. So that just it didn't sit well with me. And the moment that they fired me, it just sparked something in me that I never forgot. It allowed me to make a decision in that right there in that moment that I would never allow anybody to be in control of my finances or if I ate or not. In that moment, I said, I was 22, 23 years old. And I said, I would never allow this to happen to me again. And even though I had a background in science, with my science degree, I had a background in hair because I cut hair on the yard when I was in my dorm room. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to hair school. I know one thing, people gonna get their hair cut and they're gonna get their hair done. So if nothing else, I'll always be able to pay my bills and eat, And so that next week I enrolled in hair school at Proway over on Memorial Drive.
Wow. So being at Proway, how long did it take for you to complete your certification?
Well, it took me about a year, probably about. Normally, if you go through the accelerated program, it's about 9 months. But at the time, I still had to go to work, so I found another job in a lab, thanks to some of the people that I worked with previously. And I had to do night school. So basically, it took me about 14 months, 15 months. And once I finished, I was let's go. I'm ready to go. And so I quit my other job, and I said, if I'm going to do hair, I have to focus on doing hair, and that's what I did.
So it was a leap of faith that you quit your job and you didn't have any positions lined up in the hair field yet.
Well, so this was the blessing. Also, my cousin Sandra, she had just opened her shop up at Walmart over in Lithonia. And I told her I was graduating, and she was like, "Come on in here, baby. I got you a chair. You just go." Mind you, I had no clients. Not really, And plus, I was still learning how to do hair. But she's like, "Come on in, and I got you." So when I first left my job at the lab, the second lab job, I went straight to Walmart. I worked in Walmart in Lithonia on Panola Road for about 2 years.
Building the skill and just getting to know your workflow. So after 2 years at that Walmart in Lithonia, and I know exactly where it is on Panola Road, what helped you transition from that space into moving into a salon?
Okay, well, it was a salon in Walmart, of course, but a salon. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I had a client, and she was a Delta, actually, from UGA, and she came in and she was like, "Nikk, I think you should do this. You do so well with pressing and this, that, and the third. There's a salon in Buckhead, and I think you should go." I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'm that good to be in Buckhead. She's like, no, you're good. You're good. You should go. You should go. So I'm like, okay. So I went, and it was called Sanya. I don't know if you remember that, but it was spelled Nseya, and it was owned by Mike and Tanya Bellamy. And so I was like, you know what the worst that they can tell me is, no, you can't work here. So I'm like, okay, let me go at least give it a shot. And so I actually went and I applied. And normally when you apply there, they have you start out as an assistant, a shampoo assistant. And I'm like, well, I think I'm good, but maybe I should start out as an assistant. But once he started to see my work, and then you have to do a demonstration. Once he saw my work, he was just like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and put you on the floor. And so he put me on the floor. And mind you, this is like one of the top Black salons in the United States, not just Atlanta, but it was in the United States. I mean, 2 floors. They actually had 2 salons, one over in Midtown and one off Roswell Road. So that was the one I worked at, the Roswell Road location. And he put me on the floor, and basically all you had to do was go to work, because they gave you your clients. All you had to do was show up, So once I got there and I saw things that I didn't think Black hair salons were capable of, I was just in awe I'm like, the owners are walking in with fur coats on, So I'm like, okay, and all the stylists, like, it was no dressing like this coming to work. You had to wear black every day, not just regular black jeans and like black slacks. I mean, you were going to be dressed to the nines. All the girls came in with heels on, hair done down the hill just before weaves was like popping like that. Everybody was done, makeup done every day. You didn't come to work looking like nothing, anything. You had to come to work ready. And that really taught me. And, Lil Kim and, Faith Evans, all these type of people would come to that salon. So I was like, oh, wow, this is a whole different kind of situation. Like I was never exposed to it. So I didn't even know that we could do it here in Atlanta, or even me being from South Georgia, like I was happy in that space, but the salon ended up closing down after a few years. And so I had to figure out what was next for me, so I went to another salon. It was good, and then me and two of my coworkers decided to open our own salon. So we opened our salon off of Howell Mill Road for about 2 years. And after that, I was like, you know what? I want to do my own thing. And I had my salon downtown off of between Howell Mill and North Side for about 12 years.
And what was the name of that salon?
The name of my salon was called
Pressed. And in Press, you are learning business things that basically no one taught you. I mean, you're just walking and learning as you go gracefully. Yeah. What has that experience been like for you, if you recall, in that 12 years?
Oh God, yeah. It was like birthing a baby. It was like having a baby because you're the person in charge and having to make sure everything is running right. It was definitely a learning experience for me. I enjoyed it. I hated it. I loved it. It was all the emotions, because it's yours. It's coming in. This is your business. Everybody in here, you're responsible for everything and everybody that's in here. And it was just sometimes it was just a great feeling to know that, like, wow, I did this, and just for somebody like me, I just didn't think that I could do that until I did it. Sometimes you just got to do it. And if it don't work out, hey, it don't work out. At least I tried, but I had it for 12 years.
Wow. So in that 11th year, you're starting to feel something. Something is changing. Do you recall what is now starting to propel towards ending that 12th year?
Okay. So right around that 10th year, I'd say. It wasn't the 11th. It was right before COVID. It was probably like 2019. And I ran into one of my sorority sisters' friends. I was at her party. And she was also my other sorority sister's sister. So we all connected, different kinds of ways or whatever. And she was like, hey, I'm working on this show. I know you do great hair. Would you like to come on? Because I got to leave. I'm like, I'm trying to get back into the business, because I tried it previous years before, but I had a son. So it was like, I couldn't, the long hours, I just could not do it, So it was like, okay, my son's a little older now, so I can go and I can, hey, I might be able to do it. So she's like, okay, this is the show. It's a movie, and I want you to come and at least do background. I'm like, yeah, I got you. And the movie was actually Coming to America. So that was like kind of my big break back into the business. And on that movie, I just met so many people and just created so many friendships and relationships with so many people on that show, on that film, to where it just propelled me to do other things. And things that I honestly, I'm just me. When I arrive, I'm just me. I'm happy. I'm always gonna introduce myself. We always gonna laugh. We're gonna have fun when I'm around, and that's just who I am. No matter what. Even if we in this trailer doing hair, we're gonna laugh. We're gonna talk loud, and we just gonna have fun. And in that, I think that's one of the main components of being in the industry, especially as a hairstylist. People got to want to work around you. You can be the best hairstylist, but if your energy is not right and things about you are just not right, guess they're not calling you back, And I learned that a long time ago too, So on that film, I met Ruth Carter on that film, and she came into the trailer one day. She was like, "Hey, I need to do this because I'm getting ready to do some photos or whatever. Just pick me out of the group, Because I was working with at the time I was working on In Vogue, and so she's like, "No, I want you come here, I want you to put this on. I want you to do me. I'm like, okay, I got you, Ruth, no problem. And we have been like the coolest. She is so cool. That's number one. She's just a cool, down to earth kind of woman. And ever since then, we have been like just like that. Ever since then.
Wow, it just seems like God has just definitely blessed you on your journey as you're literally just getting linked from one position to the next position. And wow, so to coming to America to meet Ruth Carter, and now she is helping you meet more people just from working with her. What has been one of your favorite projects after meeting Ruth and working on Coming to America?
One of my most favorite projects. Oh God, I can't necessarily pick one that say this is my favorite because I enjoy working on most of them, mostly all of them. I would say my favorite project was probably the one we just finished with Brandy, The Descendants, because it's a Disney film and it's historic and it's for kids. My son this is probably the only one that he actually enjoys, out of all the things I do, because he really don't care about any of it, like, oh, okay, you do Brandy, okay, cool,
but
he
Descendants,
he loves the Descendants now because he's grown up on the Descendants, so he loves the Descendants. So when I told him I was doing that, he's like, oh, for real? Like, you doing that? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the Descendants, Connor. He's like, oh man, cool, that's cool, Dad. I'm like, all right, cool. So, but yeah, that's definitely one of my most favorite one because I actually had to create the look for Cinderella, and I had to go in my bag of tricks for that one, But it was fun, The Descendants were fun. It was fun. It was fun.
So, can you share with us your process of working as you have been called on a number of productions? Is there a particular process that you go through? You receive a project, well, you say, yes, I'm doing this. Like, what is your process?
Well, mostly the process starts with the director and the producers, So of course, whenever they tell you, okay, well, we're picking this person for this role, this is what we want them to look like. So of course, you have to go through all of your looks, present them to them, see if they get greenlit, see if everything is cool, see if, okay, does this work? So that's pretty much the process. Whatever they ask you for, that's the process, So if you can deliver, then you deliver. And I would say on all the projects that I've been on, the projects that I have been personals for or department head for, I've delivered, because that's my job. My job is to deliver no matter what it takes. If you up to 5 o'clock in the morning working on a wig, you got to be up to 5 o'clock working on a wig, But that's just the process, for the Descendants. We started working on that months before, and now I'm on the phone with producers from Disney, which is mind blowing to me, like, okay, I'm on the phone with such and such, from Disney. They're telling me, well, we're sending you these renderings and this is what we want her to look like. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna make this happen? And she got blue hair, so okay, this is gonna be interesting, because the Descendants world, everybody has colorful everything, so it was definitely a challenge, but it was really fun. It was really fun to execute. I had to teach myself new techniques, and it was just fun. It was fun challenging myself.
Are there particular tools that you like to work with as you're creating? Any type of products or hardware? Or...
You know what? Let me tell you, the funny thing is when you become a stylist that's kind of known, I never say, no, I don't like the term celebrity stylist. I'll say it, because that's what the internet likes to see or people around it. But then again, it's like celebrity celebrate. So I do celebrate myself. But when you're becoming a known stylist, so many companies send you so much stuff. But there are a few that I do like to work with specifically because their products are just amazing. It's too hard for me to name all of them right now, but there are definitely certain products for certain things that I do like to work with. And sometimes I take it back to old school, pump it up, I take it back old school sometimes because I'm from the 90s, so I have to take it back old school.
Okay. Yeah. So I know you've worked with a number of artists. Are there some artists that you would still like to work with that you haven't yet? Like three of them
Absolutely.
that you like, this is on my radar. I want to work with such and such and such. Who is this that you want to work with?
Okay, definitely Oprah. I think that's like number one. Um, I don't know. I would say Beyonce, but I've met Beyonce a couple times, and I would probably be too nervous to do Beyonce's hair. So I don't know if I would say Beyonce. You know what? I will say Beyonce. So Oprah, Beyonce, and oh man, who else would I like to work with? I don't know. Give me a minute on that one. Let me think about somebody else.
Okay, we can come back to it. But while you're thinking, who's that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm wondering because these are, we're naming future things. Is there a particular goal that you have in mind that you want to, this is where I'm headed?
Okay,
I desire to head to.
This is where I think I manifest a lot of things in my life because I speak it out loud, I write it down, and I do work for it, and I think that's the whole process of manifestation. But what I am venturing off into is actually becoming a certified wig maker and working with all the studios, so I'm still working with my girls. I definitely work with my girls all the time. But like that's my focus right now is to become a certified wig maker. And I mean like strand by strand type wig making, and not just, the wig making that we do sometimes or whatever, but like the wigs that you see on all the big screens in Hollywood. Like that's my goal, and that's the business venture. That's the business lane that I want my business to go into.
Okay. So is there some piece of advice that you have received that has helped you along your journey that you could share with our audience?
Oh man, piece of advice. Gosh, I used to have a good answer for that, but I'll be forgetting sometimes. Oh man, you know what? I think one of the things that definitely helped me in my career and in being the person that I am is to just jump. To just do it. No, don't worry about the noise on the left or right. Don't worry about the noise from your people saying that you could never do this. Why would you even try to attempt that? Just jump, just do it. I've never had anybody well, as far as family members are concerned, that would be like, well, Nick, I don't think you should do that. I don't know. Even when I told my dad that I was going to be a hairstylist when I got fired from my job, I'll never forget the conversation. My dad was like, well, Nick, do what you want to do. As long as you make money at it. He's like, I don't care what you do. And I was like, and that stuck with me. And that was 20 something years ago. And that just stuck with me that, my dad was such a driving force in my life. And always so supportive of everything that I did, no matter what it was. He was just supportive. My mom too, they were just always supportive, no matter what I did. And so it was just always good to have those people in your corner. So jump, just do it. If you want to do it, if you see something that you want out of life, jump, do it.
Yes, I received that too, because I'm in a transition myself. And yes, I receive all of that advice that you just gave. So we're coming to a portion of the show that we want to allow the audience to get to know you more as an individual. So I have some questions. Some of them are quick response, and some of them may take you a little time, but it just allows us to get to know you more as an individual. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Neither. I hate animals.
Cool.
I won't say hate. I just like animals. I don't like animals touching me or rubbing up on me or no kind of animal. Nothing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What about window or aisle seat?
Window, because I like to go to sleep.
Okay. What book would you give as a gift?
The Secret.
Nice. I love that book too. Mm-hmm. What movie could you not resist watching if it came on right now?
Color Purple.
Okay. What's your favorite recipe to cook?
Oh man, you know what? I'm a chef. Now I'm not a chef, but I have a company also with I'm opening a restaurant. But I'm a keto chef. Yeah. So I have so many recipes. It's so hard to pick one, man. Like it's very hard to pick one. I'm sorry, but I cook everything. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keto chef. Yes. Let's backtrack. So how did you get into that space, keto chef? Because that's unique.
It all goes back to my background in food science. And my journey with my weight loss and all this kind of stuff. And I have thyroid issues. So I had to have my thyroid removed probably about 13 years ago. And so, of course, when you have it removed, your body goes through so many changes. I started gaining weight, and I did vegetarian for a while, but I'm O positive. So I was like, okay, this is not working for me. I'm gaining weight. I was like 250 pounds. I'm like, yeah, this is not working for me. So I ended up just reading and researching different ways. And I started looking at, eat for your blood type. And I found that that was the best way for me to eat, best lifestyle for me. And that was in 2020. So around 2020, end of 2021, end of 2020, I had lost probably about 40 pounds at that point.
And this is off from that skill of being a keto chef.
Yeah. So I'm from the South, so we all learned, I had to learn how to cook for my siblings, and I watched my grandma, watched my big mom. We all sat around and learned how to cook, and the name of my business is called Soul Keto. So it's like I've taken the keto diet, the ketogenic diet, and I've incorporated that into Southern cuisine. And so I'll cook. You can have everything you want. I made a whole keto Thanksgiving before with cornbread and stuffing, but it was all keto.
I want to try some of your cooking. It's so good to know. See, like I said, people, multi-hyphenate artists does a lot. STEM, keto chef, hairstylist. Yeah. Yes, some people just juggling it all. Okay.
Yeah, you can follow it on Instagram.
And we're going to get to that, to how people can follow you. So as we were enjoying, it's a lot of laughter in the world. What makes you laugh the most?
My friends from high school. We have a chat group that we talk with each other every day. We encourage each other. We laugh at each other. We send each other jokes. And these are my friends from Dawson. There's about 7 of us. So yeah, we all still laugh and have fun together. That makes me laugh. And I like to laugh.
That's great. Yes, that's great. So let's say that you're at this social gathering with your friends and some song needs to come on to introduce you to the room. What song would be playing for you?
Probably Jay-Z's Bring 'Em Out, Bring 'Em Out.
Okay. And if you are there...
Or, wait.
Okay.
My favorite song is Blow the Whistle. So my friends, when that song come on, my friends already know. Everybody look at me when that song come on because they already know it's about to go down. And I like to dance. So it is what it is.
Yes, sir. I will see if I can just hang around you because I can get down. Yeah. All right, okay. Next question. Let's say you are given the power to have one superpower. You have a superpower. What would it be if you could be a superhero?
If I had the power, I would be time travel.
Time travel?
If I can have that as a power, yes.
Okay, and who would be your nemesis?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't have nemesis. I don't know.
Or who is someone that is against what you stand for?
That is very hard. Because I don't live in that realm. I don't live in the realm of haters or people that I don't like because I remove myself from them, So I don't know if I can name a person that would be my nemesis.
Okay.
But if they out there, I wish them well.
Okay. Just stay over there, people.
Okay.
Stay far away.
Keep the energy over there. Keep it over there.
Who is your favorite person to follow on social media?
Whoa, my favorite person to follow on social media. Jeez. God. So, Shop as if, I think that's her social media name. Rashandra, I think, and she's hilarious. God. But she was a Black lady who basically opened up a boutique. But she come on with this blackboard and she just gives lessons on life and just, it's hilarious. You just have to watch. I think it's Shop As If or something like that. Shop IF or something. I can't remember the name of it, but she's hilarious.
Okay. And one more question for this segment. When you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to your mind?
Me. And I'm not saying that in I got this, I got that. I'm successful at life. I strive to be a good person all around and in every space that I enter. And to me, that's success. I'm successful with my friends. I'm successful with my family. I'm successful in my career. I'm successful in life, period. And that to me is what defines success. I don't know what people may look successful on the outside, following on social media, it looks all pretty, it looks great. But could be drowning on the inside, I know for me, coming from where I come from, I was not supposed to be in this space, because we couldn't think that far ahead back then, or in that town, I couldn't think of, even dream of working with a Brandy Norwood, or being at Tisha Campbell's house on the weekend watching shows with her, or going to a party and meeting Beyonce, not just seeing her, but meeting her, being introduced to her. I couldn't dream of a world with that put me in that space, But to me, just to be here and in these surroundings, to me, is successful to me, So I do think of myself.
And as we're thinking of successful, and I'm glad that you gave your own self your flowers, because so many people don't do that, to acknowledge that you made the decisions you made, you put in the work, and you followed through on the decisions that you made. So yes, you are successful. And I'm so glad that you named yourself. So do you want to give some shout outs or love outs, I call, to people who have been supportive along your journey? I know we mentioned some, but just space to say, hey, I didn't mention you earlier. I want to take this time to say thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely. My spouse, my son, my mom and dad, my sisters, my brothers. I have a huge family. Like my mom had 10 sisters and brothers, and my dad had 5. So it was like it's a lot of family, and they've always just been supportive. It's like sometimes you don't think that you're the celebrity of the family. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't think of yourself as that. You know what I'm saying? But when everybody's like, oh, and I love it, you know what I'm saying? But y'all, it's just me, and y'all still, we all still my, family, but I love the support and the love that I get from them, because it just drives me to do so much more, because I do want to continue to make you guys proud. And just so many people, my best friends, Jean, Jamal, and but I have so many best friends, to be honest with you. I have about 5 of them. But I mean, those are my closest best friends. But everybody, they always just so proud of the things that I do, and it just makes me go harder. It makes me do even more things. So to see if I can top what I've done, like, okay, you did the Oscars, okay, what are you gonna do next? What I'm saying? So you can't just stop there. What's next? But there are just so many people in my corner, so many of my clients, that have been my clients for 20 plus years. The D9, of course, because they definitely, I have always supported everything that I've done. But there's just so many people out there. It's too many people to name, to be honest with you. But yeah, I appreciate everybody, and they know it.
Wonderful. And as you mentioned the future, earlier you said something about working with Brandy with the Descendants. Are there any more projects that you are looking forward to?
There are some that I cannot name at this point.
That you can't disclose. I get it. I
cannot
understand.
Disclose right now, but I'm looking to do a few more things this summer. Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, you know how this business is up, down, all around. Sometimes you in, sometimes you're out. But the main thing that I've always just wanted to be when I moved into this space was just consistent. I don't have to work every day, all day. As long as I'm consistent, across the board, I'm fine. And I've been consistent. That's all I can ask for.
Awesome. And as we have approached the end, I have one more question for you. How can people follow you or get to know who you are via social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can follow my Soul Keto page. And that's SOULKEATO, not just regular keto, but KEATO, because I had to put the word eat in there. On Instagram and Twitter is Nikk Rocks Hair, and that's NIKKROKKS hair. No C's, all K's. So yeah, that's it.
And we will post a link to those pages in the description box. So please make sure you like, follow, subscribe to Nikk Rocks. Well, we have come to the end of today's spotlight.
Yes.
If this podcast has helped you, please share. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe to Dream of Drea across all social media platforms. And I am Drea of Dream of Drea, a production company specializing in driving your ideas from pages to stages and from your dreams to screens. Remember, wherever you are right now is the perfect time to act on your dreams. Thanks again to Nikk Nelson for joining us and sharing his path. And we will catch everybody later. Bye, y'all.
Peace out, y'all.